So much action. I feel like I've watched 4 or 5 games of Fortnite already, but we are jumping in the bus one more time. We're here for game number 3. This is going to be a very pivotal moment right now because after this game concludes, there are very few chances left at that point to make your way straight to the grand finals. You still will have a chance. You'll have to fight, but you'll have to fight so much harder. So points do matter, but right now, Tayson and Iamzo, we get to have the pleasure of watching this drop go down. Iamzo's going to be the first to get a weapon up top in an early tag. This does, of course, mean that he gets to push on in, and he finishes off Blaze before he can even react there. Caught literally trying to shield up for a second there.
Hey, no guts, no glory, though, after all. And I do have some respect for Gordon Blizzard to actually be willing to try and contest Iamzo and Tayson, because these are definitely 2 juggernaut individuals, respectively. And to recognize the fact that, you know, somewhat competitive rookies are looking to take a swing at them, that is a bold.
They don't know. Someone's in that porta potty, by the way. Oh no, I thought for a second.
No, he's in the bush.
He's in the bush. I'm like, wait, did he get in there somehow? Like,
they are both lighting him up, but Gord fortunately bailed out by Tahi from the side, and that's going to be the departure. Porta potty will be utilized by Iamzo to get out of that position, and well, Tayson and Iamzo, they're just going to continue their original elite path. A little bit of a spoiler by Tahi to prevent them from finding that second elimination onto Gord, but take a look at what's taking place here with Mr. Savage and Mongrel. So far, they've had the edge over Death and Edgy, and unfortunately, it seems as though it's going to hold true for a third time's the chart circumstance, because 2 eliminations in total, and Death and Edgy definitely in a rough position now, because it's all just Savage and Mongrel coming up on top of this drop.
yeah, and you know, it's not the prettiest drop, right, for Mongrel and Mr. Savage here, but they're getting the job done, right? Like, even this right here, this is probably, I'd say, the cleanest of the drops we've seen so far, so they're only getting better. It seems like the fact that they're making end games and they're warmed up, it's almost like a snowball effect right now, so they're taking this into these drops, which is great. Trashy and Threats on the other side, also contested against Joyo and CR. Again, they seem to be on the short end of the battle here, making mistakes, finding themselves punished, and it's just not looking too good. And we're talking about, these are very much veteran players. Trashy and Threats are just phenomenal. They've been here for a long time. They have a lot of years under their belts, plenty of FNCS appearances, but Joyo and CR are just showing us that the new guys are here to play.
Yeah, they definitely want their own kind of names to be established at this point, and the fact that they're forcibly pushing back Threats from Pleasant Piazza. But one big trend that's definitely taking place is that some of these drops are just so volatile. I mean, they are just outright 50-50s essentially, and a big risk, big reward, you want to believe, but it's all about transitioning these early game successes into those late game performances. And I think that a duo like Mr. Savage and Mongrel, they've been repeat delivering, because so far I know it's only 2 lobbies out of 5, but we have seen them successfully maneuver the most part through the later stages of that mid game into the late game. And I think definitely are outperforming some of the expectations that public perception has placed upon them, which is kind of crazy because they have definitely been grinding so much leading up to this.
Yeah, putting in the work, it shows, but it clicks a little bit of the focus here. He's W-keying TK and Tavern right now, and he's probably feeling like, hey, wait, this team's running away. They don't have the confidence. Maybe we can take this team on, and he's already gotten a few tags. Vino has the side angle here, and they are just putting in devious work right now. Vino's playing super lurker, going all the way around the outskirts. They have no idea. And there's the tag onto TK, a headshot from the DMR. He's gonna really feel that one, and Vino and Clicks are coming through. They're collapsing on in. Nitro is already active. And this is where Clix and Vino play best. Box to box, wall to wall, especially when they have the advantage on their side, but seems like they played just enough there for them to want to back off. And I can respect that, right? I can respect the fact Clix and Vino, of course, want to play for the victory royale here, not just consistency in the points. Because with 110 points, they probably make their way to the next stage tomorrow, right? So they don't have to do anything outrageous this game.
Well, I think the main thing also is that Clix doesn't want to spend too much time in that engagement because he wants to set up positioning on the hill just a little bit north of Sandy Steps because he wants optimal view on that forecast tower off in the distance with about an 89% spawn rate, and it has made its appearance for this lobby. So all eyes, all focus is going to come onto that forecast tower for Clix and Veno, and for good reason, because if you have knowledge of every single future zone for the duration of this match, that is such an optimal way to be able to play the game and just position in general. And we saw lobby number 1, we believe that Clix and Veno had control of that forecast tower, and it benefited them greatly. They nearly won that match.
Yeah, like, let's be honest, that's the edge that they have over pretty much all of the competition in this lobby right now. And they've continued to actually get the forecast tower all throughout the duration of yesterday's games and today's. And they've come incredibly close of winning the game. So wouldn't put it past them to take a victory royale before the day's over. However, the competition is just so difficult. Take a look at Haju. Owl here. Phenomenal work. Taking the walls, playing the angles, doing everything they need to do. But on the high ground, this is not something you see very often. A full-on early game build battle. Is this on top of a forecast hour right now between Source and
Hazen?
Incredible stuff right now.
Yeah, another popular forecast tower spawn tends to be the one close to Hazen and Source, as well as Poffy. They seem like they might have had the edge initially, but Source now, no shield. He's going to be forced to utilize that Nuka-Cola, but he does still have an ample amount of shield to recover if necessary. Doesn't seem like it's going to be the case, though. At least can go pick up the immediate refresh onto that elimination he'd already secured onto Milk, and now another shield potion just going to be used. He's got to be feeling comfortable now to continue this battle, and you want to put an end to it ASAP, because third-party engagements are bound to happen the longer you stick around.
And you could just see the comms, right? Absolutely communicative with this duo. It's just perfect. But look at this, though. You might be wondering why Craze and Oliver OG have been in the zone for so long. Well, it's because they found one of the OG GOATs of the region, Macwood, in the storm there, and they end up getting the elimination. Here's Batman, Bugha, and Rapid. What has been the key to their success? How have they managed to stay so far ahead of the competition? Well, it's based off of the hard work of these early battles like this, and you know what? Smart play by them. Although they find a couple tags here, it's not worth them sticking around. They're going to give that one up. And on the other side, Acorn and Cold. We've seen this happen before. They are also no strangers to fighting inside the storm line here at the red line rig.
Almost wonder if what they might be chasing after is potentially the team that has that machinist medallion. They also probably want that mythic combat assault rifle. Just some very strong weaponry and a strong medallion, and considering that Vorteca and Paco typically land at Redline Rig uncontested, it is likely that they are currently in control of both of those pieces, but might be Paco that's actually holding on to the mythic for the time being. And they are going to probably have to continue to worry about Acorn and Cold kind of just breathing down their necks, because Acorn and Cold, they have been extremely aggressive throughout today.
Mixing in Paco, or mixing in Bugha. Continuing to impress me with how they switch up their drops game after game and continue to find success on the standings here. 88 points earned so far, not too bad, given that we're just jumping into game 3 right now. And look at this update that we have here. Vino, 18 HP. So the split attack here, not quite going in his favor, but luckily didn't result in a team full on killing him here. He's got a couple cactus to work with, so that'll be just fine, but hopefully it was worth it. Hopefully he found the tags that he needed.
Considering we haven't really seen them struggle with their surge threshold, have to imagine that that ultimately netted in his favor, but again, I think that with the availability of these slurp cacti in this southern portion of the map, MDF, it just alleviates so much pressure that would initially be placed upon teams. You're kind of looking at the teams that are more towards the north side, right? They actually have to expend their resources they've been looting up. They don't have these slurp cacti for the most part, and then they're having to deal with players that are surge-based around the slurp cacti that would be available otherwise. So you essentially have to fight for the resources down here from teams that have already been able to pre-establish those optimal positions, and it just gets all the more difficult. And Noah called attention to it earlier, but yesterday, keep in mind, 4 zones pulled south, 1 zone north in yesterday's matches, and we are definitely seeing some deja vu circumstances here today.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's the count for today? I've seen a lot of southern-ish zones. Here's a first look at Scuffy's in Glow right now. Set up, center zone just outside of the underworld. And it seems like they're trying to do something big right now. They need material. They're just coming off the heels of a battle, it seems like, that they were in the lead of. They have a single elim right now, so very nice.
When you think about some of the teams kind of surrounding this underworld territory, first one that kind of comes to mind for me is going to be like Pink and Miro and Pen Pump.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, we already saw Batman, Bugha, and Rapid from Grim Gate. They'd rotated much earlier on to be a little bit closer to the action. And they were rocking 2 total eliminations as well, so they've definitely found some success in the uncontested start that they've had here today. But Jack and Cease, they are trying to build some momentum for themselves here today. We've got glimpses, but don't think that they've had an opportunity just yet to really kind of captivate that late game success.
Yeah, Cease is one of those players, man, you can never really sleep on. He always pops out, he shows out, makes it to these FNCS, you know, finals appearances, whether it's through consistency or otherwise. But right now, absolutely, Jack and Cease are struggling just a little bit. Cold and Acorn are not, however, here with the Rift Island landing right on top of them. Do keep in mind, they're one of the teams that was deep in the storm, so they're coming out of exhausting their resources. Very worth fighting for them right here. Vorteca and Paco had a hot streak yesterday. Continue to play very strongly here today so far. Very decent. But a win.
Oh, wow.
Is hopefully on the horizon for them. Shots coming in from the outside edges here. These are teams that are way in the storm right now.
The problem, though, is that it's only a matter of time, you would think, before Vorteca and Paco can get their revenge on the teams taking shots from behind them, because they're going to catch this flaming boost tube. They just saw Savage and Mongrel exit through it. It's Seek and Dash, actually, who are trying to close that distance sooner rather than later, maybe hoping that they can get a close-range battle up against the likes of Vorteca and Paco. But Vorteca and Paco, they're not going to stick around to find out. Everyone instantly entering into the flaming boost tube. We just saw like 4 separate players enter at once, and almost have to anticipate that they're all trying to shoot at each other as well.
I love how the timing worked out, though. They were like, are you going to go above us? But then shots started coming in, and we're like, hey, we got to go now. Like, they wasted no time. But while we were looking at that, another fight going on here at the Rift Island. Acorn and Cold, we talked about them needing that material, the resources after staying too far in the zone. And look at that. They waste no time to fight another team at the Rift Island. They clean and honestly swift 2v2 right there. onto Velo and Geek. Well played for them. That's going to be a huge turn of events for them. And now they're absolutely positioned for endgame. Meanwhile, Mongrel and Mr. Savage, I mean, the same can be said here. 2 elims, max material right now, pretty much. Very strong position for the mid game coming up here shortly, but they still have a rotate in front of them, right?
For sure, but they are keeping in mind both of the surge bases that they can see sky high currently. One of them owned by Pink and Miro. Pink just tossing out
taking their resources,
everything. I mean, I can't blame them. They must have spent a decent amount of time collecting all of this shield, and sure enough, Mongrel, Mr. Savage, they caught wind of it.
They just
You're
yoinked
gonna be
all
able to
that.
Yeah, that's a real bandit situation there.
Oh, just dirty work right there. Look, and they haven't moved too much off the bottom of that area. They're debating, hey, do we just stay here and sit on these mini shields? I think there was a lot for them to earn there. I'm curious, Pink is rotating so far into the zone. Like, what was the game plan there? Were you really going to try to take that all the way?
They were isolated
base?
initially, to be fair. Miro was kind of keeping tabs on everything from the next surge base that he'd established. And so the thing is, Pink, I think 100% fights that if Miro is closer. The problem is those two are way too split for Pink to want to risk it, essentially, because, again, the end goal here today, while it's nice to get the points off consistency, you want your victory royale, and that's going to be so much harder for a player like Epic Whale to come across, because 5th zone approaching the 6th now, and Epic operating as a solo. He's got a lot of game still left to play here, and all of the lobby has taken notice of this solo here at the Grim Gate. But fortunately for some of these teams, though, look at where the zone is pulling MDF. Slightly different trend than yesterday. We're going straight towards the underworld.
Yeah, this is a lot different, and it's starting to pull even further northwest here. That big base in the distance, I do believe might be Miro's, but for Dash and Seek, they have a lot to work with. Still have the river right in front of them, so they shouldn't have a problem making this next move here. Meanwhile, one of the few that are more or less positioned here with a good spot is Link and Antonio, but although they have a bit of the dead side, they gotta move now. Here it is, Crashback comes out, Z-Link's got Flowberry Fizz going, and a big rotate here. He's got a couple teams on his heels, though. I haven't even seen him look back at all. No concern. Just pure focus on making the rotation.
Yeah, but he needs to be concerned, because when you're 295 below the surge, I mean, sure, it can be nice to play from that dead side, but...
Oh, they're keying this.
Yeah, they need Alex to go down quickly, too, before anybody else can catch wind of what's actually happening here. Z-Link trying to still maintain the aggression. Already one big tag, though. It's going to put him to just 126 below now. Is Alex doing everything he can to try and pull away from this exchange. And Z-Link, while in the process of keying, you could see team way across the way. Look to be Yuma's potentially taking shots, and Antonio as well. His HP bar starting to dwindle. So it's evident. Yeah, looks as if Owl and Haju, as well as some others, just gonna stop him in his tracks.
I was thinking that Haju might have needed the elimination here, but no, they're so far above, and they're inching their way forward. So I am curious as why they feel like they need this fight. I mean, I guess it makes sense. They actually don't have a lot of material, so look at this, though. Quick update. Mongrel by himself in the box. A down teammate just nearby. Couldn't quite get the pickup. Oh, there it is. He ends up sticking it through and managing to hold the walls. Everything just comes together here. But no, too much pressure from up above. They gotta change layers here.
Still has a good amount of hard materials left, though. Plenty of brick, even if the metal was forcibly expended. At the same time, though, pros don't fake. Getting that revive off is massive, because at least now he'll have Savage to try and make something even better happen. But I'm right there with you. They definitely need a layer switch, and they probably need to do it soon, because this is just too much attention from the lobby. All of our OG craze now trying to funnel their way into these edits, but Mongrel, Savage, so incredibly low, still have a few small shield potions to work with, though, each. Probably some of the ones that they stole from Pink earlier on.
Yeah, that was just, you know, incredible amounts of pressure coming in from not only above, but you have Oliver OG on the side there. And if I had to guess, Oliver OG and Krace probably got that initial knock. Look at this, Clix lost Vino amongst all that, trying to make this rotation. Now Clix is left by himself. Now they do have the advantage of knowing where the zone's gonna go, so something went dangerously wrong, but look at this, Clix in the box against Bugha, finishes him off. Smart play to slip on out the side there and just swings everything all the way around here, but he's not done yet. I don't think he wants to let Pars get this pickup. Pars is so good though.
He just has a massive shield and HP advantage, though, in comparison to where Clix started off. The fact that Clix already played Sabotage, though, to Bugha. Now look who's coming in from having once been stolen from, now stealing away the benefits of that knock that Clix had done onto Bugha. And Pars also forced to disengage here. They wanted what they thought was going to be a quick elimination onto a solo. Instead, Pars now going to be forced to try and clutch this one up as a solo.
And we just got to take a minute to appreciate the fact that Clix had the heart with 1 HP, not to stop and heal. No, of course not. To fight back and say, Pars, you're not pushing this box, bro. Like, I am going to fight you if you want to. And that alone tells us so much about the confidence of Clix and honestly, the capabilities of the best players, of course. But look at this, Batman Bugha Rapid on the move right now. 3 eliminations, much different situation going on here. They are very much poised to potentially be one of the few to go ahead and play for the win right now. Things are looking to line up. Cold and Acorn as well have a lot of material here. We haven't seen them any better than this late into the game right now. We're in Zone 8 right now, so it is only going to get tighter and tighter here now, and the zones are going to start moving relatively fast. And Cold and Acorn go to the old trusty low ground front side to start leading the push here.
Granted, if it's not the crash pads, though, it's now the underworld dashes that so many of these teams are going to have to keep in the back of their minds, because no layer is really all that safe. Neither is any of these boxes, because it's so quick how fast someone can move into your box with one of those underworld dashes. And again, Mr. Savage and Mongrel also playing from that ultimate low ground. Paper and Victor, however, they seem to have their sights set on the next front side. They're looking for the complete takeover here, and Paper cranking up immediately. It's clear that they want to play for hype, but they might not have the material count to do so.
Yeah, they definitely don't. I don't think they do right now. They are going to need at least an elimination in order to go ahead and secure some high ground. But Mongrel and Mr. Savage instead are going for the fight because they absolutely have to. 26 below right now. Teams in sight. Yamzo, Tayson in front, Kofi on the side there. Or there's some low ground options, but indecisive. Starting to kick in here. Mongrel not sure what they want to do. Go for high, go for low. This is going to be a very important decision they make right now. But the zone doesn't allow them to sit too comfortable. Meanwhile, on height, Mixon and Bugha, you just never know where this team's going to be. But they get cracked out of their positioning there by the hands of another duo down below. And Paper is the second high ground team right now. They're eyeing things up for a second.
They're not the only ones either. You can see Yamza, Tayson, Pink, Miro, everyone trying to make sure they can maintain a decent position from that secondary height. Another chop onto Bugha and Mixon. And Bugha, he's got these crash pads. Gonna keep trying to stay ahead of the pack here. Jumping straight to that next front side of zone, but Cold in the mid ground runs into Yamzo, takes him out. Massive shots ringing through. And now Cold and Acorn, with yet another refresh that they can claim, they just want the high ground, yeah.
I was going to say, I think they're going to go for height right here and now, but look at this, Mongrel and Savage, we're wondering if they were going to come down for a refresher, and they do just that. So now they find themselves on a complete opposite side of the zone here, but it's a moving zone, and they're right in the front. There goes the material split. Mongrel and Mr. Savage are going to be one of the teams to look out for right now, but up top, I'm curious, where's Acorn and Cold? Have they made a move for it? Mixon and Bugha, we already know, are running out of material up top, so it's only a matter of time here. Heals are starting to come through. That's a win condition in the hands of Cold. If we know Cold, we know he's probably going to want to fight for it. Meanwhile, Paper and Victor They just take it amongst themselves to go for height after getting the refresher, and here they are up top. Paper is a very, very experienced player. We've seen him win games on the FNCS stage before. Could this be the grand finals right in front of him?
It's just so difficult because he doesn't have a high fire rate weapon. He's putting a lot of dependency into the accuracy behind some of those DMR shots. Source, a random quick tag to Cold to the low ground, but instantly dashes away.
He's still
just kind of going back and forth, seeing just how much he can actually heckle Cold and Acorn in the process. Really just might be fully focused on trying to see if he can get a lucky knock along the way, but Batman, Bugha, and Rapid, they are now the ones who have overtaken height. Paper and Victor stand no more at the top of the lobby here as things just continue to get more and more hectic with all these players dashing around.
This is perfect. This is perfect for the low ground teams because honestly, everyone fighting for help means everyone's running out of material. So if you're on a low ground like Cold and Acorn right now, finding these refreshers, they will have the advantage going into the end game, but they have to make a move now because otherwise the zone will be too small for them to work with. Cold has to heal, Acorn has to pop these med kits, and then they have to push back. There are still 7 players in this game. Make that 6 now as Paper falls there in the end. Nero, one of the solos, so there's another solo lurking nearby. It's probably Mr. Savage on another layer. I only saw Mongrel there for a moment, but Miro's stuck between the rock. It's gonna cost him a lot of HP, has to break through. He's gonna fall here now. It's Victor who's down, Rapids on top. Acorn and Cold are all that's left. Can they do it?
Cold at least has 2 medkits to work with, so the real question is, can Rapid find him? He's searching, but Rapid and Cold both down to their final medkit. Storm Sickness could potentially come into play here for either of these players, but it looks like Cold is going to have the slight advantage here.
I don't know. We know Cold was in the storm for a long time in the early game. If it does end up turning on, it's not going to be good for him. He's looking for anything. They're desperate, but in the end, Rapid had the slight advantage, and it might have been, again, all due to the fact that he was able to find that nitro at the end there. It was so close.
Just, what are the odds, though? You almost wonder if that might have been some pre-existingly tabbed loot that they maybe kept track of.
You think he knew the Cola was there?
It might have. I mean, it's definitely, I think, a little bit more taking fate into his own hands at that point, because these two weren't going to manage to actually encounter each other directly. You could see Cold desperately trying to search for him, but yeah, Rapid with the quick thinking, always smart to go back through a lot of those pre-existing builds, especially when there were so many eliminations taking place in the low ground. It was really only a matter of time, I guess, before one of them was able to find some of those essential loot items necessary. And the Nuka-Cola, that's really the difference maker here today, MDF. But congratulations to Batman, Bugha, and Rapid for punching their way into the grand finals. And we'll see everything else that's going to unfold here today after this short break.